Please forgive my voice. I'm recording as much as I possibly can while I'm still somewhat okay. I do have a cold. I am sick a little bit, so my voice will sound a little off. But I'm hoping that you're having a wonderful day. So, in this episode, I'm going to discuss how to get services for your child once you discover that your child may not be developing well. You may have, let's just say this is the scenario for most families with children with disabilities. One, chances are once the child is born, they have a noticeable disability. That could be maybe the eye structure of their eyes are not formed very well, so they will go under the category of blind and visually impaired. Maybe they have certain features that relate to Down syndrome, so therefore they will get an IFSP right away. Maybe they were born without an eye. That could happen. Maybe you can notice like physical abnormalities once the child's come out, or sometimes they will notice in their chromosomes during the birth process, the development of the baby. They will notice that something might be off with the child, and they've done some testings. So that's another way they can determine this, and the child will have an IFSP. If you don't know what that is, please check out the video or the previous podcast related to that, where I discuss about the difference between an IFSP and an IEP. Okay, so this information are for parents who have they gave birth, they have a child. The child does not foreseen any physical attribute that can be related to Down syndrome, blindness, deafness, or such, through the different types of hearings testing that's being done throughout the from birth and onwards as the child's growing up. So this is when your child is sent to daycare, and they're receiving their first ever educational service, and your teacher come up to you and tell you, hey, Mrs. Doe, Mr. and Mrs. Doe, we noticed that there's something off with your child, and we would like you to fill out this little questionnaire called an ASQ to look at your child development. We will do one, and you will do one as well. We just want to see what areas we can help your child with, because we know there's something missing there. There's a little delay, and we want to provide some services for your child. So this can be a shock for parents. Please, please, please do not be afraid. Listen, most children have some delays in their development. Either it wasn't accessed during their time, they're in the primary years, or they're just slow to develop. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. You fill out the ASQ, which is the Ages Stages questionnaires, or whatever questionnaire that they give to you, they provide to you for to track out the development of a child. And you notice from your questionnaire, the results shows that, hey, there's a significant delay in certain area of development. It can be gross, that your gross motor or fine motor. So fine motor deals with your hand, gross motor is walking, jumping, all of that fine stuff. It could be language development, it could be cognitive development, it could be social and emotional development that seem to be delayed in the child. So now your child is like, let's say 3 years old, or I'm going to give you two scenarios. So your child's like 2 years old, and you end up with this information. What do? Do you seek out all the therapists out there? No. Chances are, if you have a really, 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 really amazing daycare or early childhood services that provide services for your child, the early education services, early childhood education. Oh my gosh, this is such a tongue tie. But anyways, if your child is enrolled in a very good preschool, there you go, chances are they will suggest to you, if your child is between ages of birth to 2 years old, and there's a good chance they will send you to a agency that will provide service where they actually test all the different areas of development, and they will create a plan for your child. Remember in the last video, if you have not checked it out, but they will create a plan called an IFSP. This is for children who are identified with disability under IDEA, because there's 13 categories, and pretty much your child will need services. And this is a plan that's meant to be created for the whole family as a whole. They will talk to you about like what goals do you want to see your child be able to do. Maybe it's walking, maybe it's to be able to color, maybe it's just to socialize using please and thank you, or say hi, goodbye. It could be simple things, whatever you want your child to be able to do, or interact with someone in a social setting, or to increase their attention span. Which is kind of tough for little ones because their attention span is really short. But if they're not playing with a toy for a long period of time, if you know you can give your child a certain type of toy and they can be situated with that toy for a long period of time, be questionable. It shouldn't always be technology, because technology will delay your child development at a very young age. So stick away from the technology. I know it's good for you, but stay away. It's not good for your baby. Please, 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 please. Just decrease it. Decrease it to 2 hours a day. Okay? I'll say an hour. But 2 hours, Right. So if you live in the state of Florida, the agency that will help, that will provide services by testing your child, so that way your child will be eligible for services at this age, it will be called DD, which is developmental delay. We don't really give them like a label early on in the age because they're learning, and chances are kids tend to have delays at this age, unless it's something that you can definitely see physically. Meaning, if your child was born with one eye, obviously the child will have will fall under the category of blind and visually impaired, and they will be getting services from birth. Ever since they come out of the birthing canal, they're getting services right there and there. Okay, but if this is not the case for you, these are all the mom and dads that are just worried, like, oh my gosh, what's the matter? This is what it is. Developmental delay means that your child has a delay in 2 or more areas, and therefore he or she will need services to help them fill in those gaps, so that way they do not have that delay. Okay? It's just therapy. Just a little therapy. They just need a little assistance. That's it. And most of the time, children with DD tends to grow out of it. They won't need the label anymore. They may not get another label for something else. They will just grow out of it. It just means that they needed extra services because something happened. They weren't practicing a certain skill set all the time, so they didn't master it fully. Or the way that you're engaged at your home life, maybe they stay at grandma's house and they watch a lot of movies on the phone or a lot of YouTube, and they use that to distract the child so they can feed him and do all this type of stuff. Okay. Or maybe your child at the time with grandma's house, they like to be carried all the time. No bueno, no good. I'm talking as a previous early childhood teacher. That was not fun. How dare you? Don't worry, if they were in my classroom, they will be corrected within a year. They're not going to be doing that in my classroom. I don't know about at home, but in my classroom, it's a big no-no. No. But yeah, so I just want you to know, like, this is for the parents who are absolutely concerned. They're worried. They don't know what to do. Like, oh my God, there's something wrong with my baby. They're like crying. I just want you to know you did nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with your child at this moment. This is the perfect opportunity for your child to get early intervention, so that way we can fill in the gaps. All right? If your child continues to show gaps or delay in certain areas, they will continue to receive services for DD, developmental delay. They will be able to have this category until they're in kindergarten, until we figure out, hey, talking to the kindergarten teacher, talking to the parents, we have to work with one another, to see maybe there's a different category we need to give to your child, so that way your child continue to reach services by the time they move up to first grade. Okay, but breathe, just breathe, just breathe. Okay. There's nothing wrong with getting extra services. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Now, the second thing is there's another part. Now, let's say your child is 3 years old, okay? And early steps, if you're in Florida, it's called early step. But like in other states, like in, I can't see. Like in the state of Alabama, they have, the agency is called Alabama Early Intervention System. So what I'm gonna do, because each state is different, I will have this information. It's from the CDC, so the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, so CDC. So I will have that there for you guys, the website there, either in the description box, so that way you can find your state and the early intervention contact information. So you'll find the website to that agency, and as well as their phone numbers. So that way you can call, set an appointment. Remember, your child has to be between the ages of birth. That means they just came out of the womb, all the way to 2 years old. Birth to 2 early intervention agencies. Click on that link. Now, if your child is 3 years old or older, this is called, if you're in the state of Florida, it's called FDLRS. I don't know about the other states. It depends, like for the county and stuff like that. For other states, you'll have to contact your school districts to find out like the information. I will try my best. To help you guys out for the other states. But in the state of Florida, it's called FDLRS. FLDRS. FDLRS. I don't remember what the acronym stands for. I know the FL is for Florida. But yeah, check out FDLRS. There's a good chance I might have the information somewhere on the top, or I'll just have the information in the description box. Make it easier. But FDLRS are for kids between the ages 3 and up. Well, yeah, for 3 years old to 5, I believe, like up to 5 or so. But FDLRS are used for those kids. FDLRS are used for children who are 3 years old. So if your child is 3 years old and the preschool that they attend to let you know that they have shortcomings in certain developmental areas, then you'll need to contact FDLRS if you are in the state of Florida. This is going to take longer because you're going to be working with the school psychologist for that district. Okay. So once you have that interview for FDLRS, you go with your child. They will do the diagnostics. Your child will get something called an IEP, Individual Education Plan, because your child is 3 years old. IEPs are given to children who are individuals, I should say, who are between the ages of 3 to 21 who have a disability. Okay? 3 to 21, they have an IEP for the school education system. All right? And once again, do not fret. Please do not fret. It just means your child will get some additional services to help fill in the gaps, okay? The goal is to help fill in the gaps and help them to reach those milestones when it comes to fine motor skills, using their hands, their communication, making sure eye contact, or using their words up properly. Maybe sometimes they need a little assistance with enunciating their words, so they would need some speech. Excuse me. Okay, so please, once again, that it's recognized early, it's a good thing. Excuse me. It's a good thing because your child will be able to receive services at an early age. And the fact that my best suggestions for you is to work with a therapist, work with them to find out what they're doing in the classroom with your child, so that way you can do this with them at home. Now, for my little ones, birth to 2, with the IFSP, they can come to the classroom, and I forgot what it's called for fiddlers. Not fiddlers, but for early steps. The ITDS, I believe. But they're the developmental specialists for early steps. They will come to your home and provide them services. So you can work with them. Sometimes it's only like once a week or whatever like that. But if they're in school, of course, they will have their therapy session that will come into the school. And, oh my God. If they are in the school setting, of course, they will have the therapist coming to the school. My suggestion for you guys is like take a day off from work and actually go during the time when they have the therapy session in their school and talk to the therapist and to find out like what are they doing with your child and what you can do at home to help them. Because the more that you do these intervention with your child, the more likely the gap will close. Okay? So we have to work together as a team. All right. I hope this was helpful. I will try to see if I can get the information for the 3 to 21 individuals, mostly the 3-year-olds who are in preschool, 3 to 5, I should say. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. And